Hello everyone, Matey here. This is part 2 of my Secondlife portrait. In the first part I showed you how I fixed up the glitches in this image, like around the neck there, on the brow, on his cheek. If you want to watch part 1, I'll leave a link below. This is part 2. I'm going to speed it up so it doesn't go as long as it would have gone. And as always, if you find this helpful, please like, share and subscribe. Here we go. Background layer and remove that green. I'm going to do that by using the background eraser tool. So I've got this, it's almost as large as it'll go. You probably can't see this, but in the center of this tool there's a little plus sign, which is like the sample part. So anything that touches will be erased. Now it's green, so there we go, like that. Now I'll put a layer behind him just so you can see. So make that white. It's probably left some green in his hair. It might have been alright because he's got really dark hair. No, it's done a pretty good job of taking the green out, so I don't really need to do anything more there now. Alright, so all these layers, I want them all on the same layer now because there's no point having them separated. So I'm going to highlight the top layer, and this is what's called a stamp. So the shortcut keys, it's the only way to do it. It's the control key, the shift key, the alt key, and then E. So you highlight your top layer, control shift alt and E, and it makes a stamp. So anything that's visible gets stamped onto its own layer. So I can turn off everything below that now. I'll put that into a group just in case we need to go back for some reason, but this is the first edit just to fix it up, and we'll go from here. We'll find a background and we'll get going. Alright, so now I'm going to stick a background behind him. Control A to select, Control C to copy, Control W closes it out, then I'll paste it in behind him, Control V. So resize this by transforming it, Control T, hold down your shift key and your alt key, it'll size it all the way out like that. It's a little bit too bright, so I'm going to make a copy of this because I'm going to do something destructive. Control L to bring up its levels, and I might just darken it all a little bit. And then this bit here, I'm going to use this lasso tool, and I'm going to darken that part of the image. I'm making a selection around it. If I right click, feather it, It's quite a large image, this one. This one is 4,000 wide by 3,000 pixels high. So I'm going to feather the radius of this selection by 200. So I don't want any sharp lines here when I start changing this colour here. So I'm going to make an adjustment on this for the brightness and contrast. I'm just going to drag that down a bit. Alright, and I'm going to do another selection, this time a bit smaller. Right click and feather by 200. And I'll do the same. Just bring that down a little bit. Alright, so that's alright, I think. I'm going to make him a bit larger in the image, so Control T. So this one is an image for his profile. So I want it to be nice and bold, and anybody looking at his profile will get a nice shot of his face. Okay, so now I'm going to paint some hair with the mouse. So come up here to the brush tool. I'm going to pick this hairbrush, the same one that I used on his brow. Okay, so just going to resize this brush. Just going to make a judgment call here. It's 50, 45, 35. I'm going to try 25 size. I think it's pixels, that's what it's for. And so what you do is you set your brush size, make sure the opacity and flow is at 100%. Grab your pen tool. I'm going to draw some strands. So I'm going to start here. Actually, before I do that, I'm going to sample his hair colour. So he's got a few highlights here. I'm going to take a sample from where one of the highlights is. So it's a form of grey. Back to the pen tool. I'm going to start here. And then draw a hair. I'm going to right click and stroke that path. Simulate pressure. Oh, before I do that, I'll put a layer above him. So we're going to do this in the same layer. Alright, so right click, stroke path, simulate pressure, press OK. Backspace to remove that. Alright, so you see I've dropped the hair across the front of his face. That's a bit light. One hair's okay, but I'll go darker. This one I'll do it a bit closer. So you can see the strands that I've added there. I think it adds something. Disguises some of these other hairs there that didn't look too good. Alright, so that's the hair fixed. Okay, now I'm going to do some dodging and burning, and I'm going to start with some dodging on his hair. So the light's going to be coming from the right hand side here. Well, that's the way it appears with where the shadows are. So that side of his head and above here, I'm just going to do a few things to fix up some of the highlights in his dark hair there. So I'm going to start with a curves layer. Alright, so I'll just grab it in the middle, lift it up and brighten it all up. And on this layer mask here, I'm going to invert that to make it black. So it's going to hide that curves layer. Control I will invert it. Now, where these highlights are, I'm going to paint with a soft brush. Let's turn the opacity and the flow down to about 20, 25%, 30%, something small. And just going to get a soft round brush. And I don't know if you can see it, but to me, there are some faint highlights there. So I'm just going to, with a white brush, paint on this black layer mask. I'm going to bring out some of those highlights just gently. Okay, so now I'm going to do some dodging and burning. So I'm going to do that with the curves layer. So I'll pop one up. Do some burning first, mostly just on the top of his eyes here. They're a little bit too bright there, I think. So drag that down a little, quite a lot actually. Make sure that that layer mask is highlighted, and I'm going to invert it by using Control and I. I want to get a white brush, so make white the foreground colour. Get a soft brush. Make that smaller using my left bracket key. That's how I do it. You can do it up here as well. Whatever you choose. So just make sure that these figures here are, 30 or a bit below, and just gradually build up shadows where you want them. So I just want them around the top of his eye there. So now I'm going to do a stamp, and I'm going to do an iris blur. I want to keep this part of his face really sharp, and maybe even his shoulders here, but this edge of his hair and the rest of the image I want to blur it out. So what I'm going to do is I'll do a stamp and filter in the blur gallery. There's this blur tool here called an iris blur. So let me spin this around and get it lined up. So the way this works is that anything that's in between these dots here is going to stay in focus, and then it's going to slowly draw out to out of focus. So I've got a nice little blur around the edge of his hair there. Not so sure I want it all blurred here, so what I'll do is I'll put a layer mask and I'll just with a black brush paint that back. I've got this sort of down low, so I can bring it back gradually. I might not want it. There we go, it's not quite as blurred as it was. Okay, so now I'm going to do a colour lookup and use, let's have a look at a few of these, 4 colours. Crisp winter look, it's a bit crisp warm look. I'm going to go for Candlelight Cube, I think. Change that to soft light and bring that opacity down. So I won't do that again, but this time I'll apply the layer mask. So colour lookup, Candlelight Cube, soft light, and I'll apply this image to that layer mask. So let's see what it looks like. That's alright. I'll put a bit of a highlight from over here, so I'll put a new layer there, put it to screen. I'll sample this grey in the background. Let's see what this looks like. Stamp, Control Shift Alt and E, and I'll finish it off with Camera Raw.